Today we're going to review 3 topics. The first topic we're going to review is scatter plots and making trend lines. Scatter plots and making trend lines. So whenever you're doing this on paper, you want to use like a ruler or straight edge. But on your STAR test, it's going to be on the computer, which is why I put your assignment online today where you have to use that line tool, which we'll go over in a little bit. But anytime you see make a prediction, you have to draw a what? You have to draw a what? All right, so when you draw a trend line, I need y'all to pay attention. This is very important. You have to use the guide of the dots. So if I just go draw a random line, that's not going to do anything for me. My line needs to go through these dots, and so what I did here is drew little guidelines that says, hey, your trend line should go in the middle of those, right in the middle of the dots. So I take a straight edge. It does not have to pass through 0, even though if that's the pattern, then it can. So right now, if I was to draw a trend line through this, you would want it to go through the dots. And if you don't like it, then start over. Do y'all see how it's in the middle of the pattern of the dots? Does everybody see that? And it wants me to make a prediction based on a household with 7 people. The biggest part you need to look at is people on the x-axis or the y-axis. So what's on the x-axis? What's on the y-axis? Okay, because one time on the STAR test, they put people on both axes. And one was like people working out and one was like people playing games. So you have to pay attention. This says 7 people, so I'm definitely going to go to the x-axis and find 7. Well, here's 2, 4, 6, 8. Where would 7 be? Right here in the middle. Do y'all agree? And so what you do is you draw a line straight up from there to your trend line. And then straight, so now that I'm at my trend line, I want to go straight over to the y-axis and see where I'm at. I am really close to what? 240. So that's my answer. The most important part is that your trend line goes through the dots as best possible to show what's going on, to show the trend. Any questions on that? Okay, go down to the bottom question. The next topic we are reviewing is how to interpret a graph and plot a point. Now remember, they're always going to give you 2 numbers. Most of the time, with the 2 numbers, you can simply graph them. But if they don't fit on the graph, what do you do? Does anybody remember? If they don't fit, put this right here. If they don't fit, then you divide. Y divided by X. And that will tell you where your dot should be for 1. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is see if these numbers fit on the graphs. If they don't fit, what do? Divide. What number would go on top? The Y. So whatever they had the Y-axis labeled, that one would go on top. So it would usually be money over that other number. All right, but it looks like these are going to fit because it says 6 shirts. Well, does 6 fall on this graph? Yes, so 6 shirts, and where should it be at? 1650. So here's a dot. Could that represent 1650? Yes, so I'm thinking it's F. Let's go look at G. 6 shirts. 1650 would be somewhere here. Does that fall on the line? No, so that's not it. And then you just go through each one here. 6 shirts, go up to 1650. That doesn't fit. And this one doesn't fit, so it's definitely F. All right, then over here, just to refresh your memory, if y'all forgot how to plot a point, it's always an X and a Y. So you always graph the X first. So on the X-axis, I would go to 3, and then I would either go up 1 or down 1. Since it's negative, I would go down 1. Y'all remember that, right? Where would I go here? On the X-axis, where would I go? I'm waiting for y'all to answer. I'm not going to answer for you. Where am I going to go on the X-axis? To 3, and then where would I go from there? Up 4 or down 4? Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here. So that's how you would graph points, just to make it clear when you're looking at these numbers, okay? All right, flip to the back. The last thing we're going to review today is functions. Functions are super easy, and you guys are good at them. On functions, what do you only look at? You only look at the X's. Write that down. These are questions on the STAR test that don't involve any math that everybody should get right. In order to be a function, the X's have to all be different. There's not one X that can repeat itself. So everybody look at example 1, and I know it got cut off over here, of the ordered pairs. Which one of these is a function? So here I have 2 in the X spot, 3, 4, 5. Is that a function? Yes. So number 1 is yes, it's a function because all the X's are different. Now let's look at example 2. Is example 2 a function? Why? So this 4 and this 4 repeat themselves, so this would be a no. You cannot have a function if the X's repeat. Okay, go to tables. Which one of these tables is a function? Well, what do you only look at? Okay, so look at the first example. 0, 1, 2, 3. Is that a function? Wake up and answer me. Is this a function? Yes. Why? Because all the X's have exactly one Y. All right, look at it. The second one. Is this a function? Why? Because there's 2 2's that repeat themselves. Okay, go to mapping. This is the one I see a lot of people get confused on. If you need to, go write coordinates, just like up here. So for example, this is saying 2 goes with 4. This is saying 3 goes with, and 3 goes with. Is that a function? Why not? Because there's 2 3's, so this would be no, it's not a function. The other way you can do this if you don't want to write out coordinates is to cover the Y's and ask yourself, does each X have only one line coming out of it? Well, no, it doesn't. The 3 had 2 lines. So why would this be a function? Because if I cover the Y's, each X had only one line coming out. And if I wrote these as coordinates, it would be 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, and I only care about the X's. And the X's did not repeat, so my answer would be yes, that's a function. Now be careful on the STAR test if they ask for Y. The answer would always be because every X has only one Y. Don't ever reverse those. Don't ever say because of the Y. Okay? It also could say every input has only one output because the X's are inputs. All right, go to the graphs. Anytime you have a graph, if you want to know it's a function, what do you perform? A vertical line test. A vertical line is a straight up and down line. And how many times can it touch the picture if it's a function? 1. So let's look at this first example, and I want y'all to tell me if it's a function. If I draw a vertical line how many times did it touch the graph? I had a student say, but Ms. Castro, it touched right here. Who can tell me why that's not touching? That's the x-axis. That's not the picture. Does that make sense? If I draw another vertical line, how many times did it touch the picture? So that means it is a... So my answer to the first graph would be yes, it's a function. Now let's look at this picture to the right. If I drew a vertical line right here, how many times did it touch? 2. Can it touch 2 times? So this would be no, it's not a function. Okay, go down to this bottom left one. What do y'all think about this one? Function or no? Yes, because if I draw a vertical line, how many times did it touch right here? Once. What if I draw it over here? How many times did it touch? So yes, it's a function. Can it be 2 different lines? Yes, the only thing that matters is if you draw a vertical line, it can only touch at one spot. Okay, and then how about this last one, this circle? No, because it's going to touch 2 times. Okay, your assignment is going to be found in the Google Classroom. Now listen carefully. You are going to open it and do it through Kami, which I will make sure you know how to do. The reason I put it on Kami was so that you can practice drawing your trend lines with the line tool. Does that make sense? When you are finished, you're going to take your answers that you wrote on the back of your star chart, because it's multiple choice. Come get them checked with me. And then I made a Google form for you to just put your answers in. You don't have to do anything, just mark A if number 1 is A, and so forth. Does everybody understand? Okay, so let's go to the Google Classroom to the assignment, and let's look at Kami.